When Bonanza first aired in 1959, nobody could have predicted it would become one of the biggest television phenomena of all time. At the center of that success was Pernell Roberts, playing the serious, intellectual eldest son, Adam Cartwright. But while he was a massive star on screen, behind the scenes, Roberts was a man who absolutely despised Hollywood egos and toxic behavior. So when one co-star crossed the line, Roberts didn't hold back. He looked right at the fellow actor and reportedly called him a child of Satan. So, what actor could possibly provoke such a deep, venomous insult from the usually dignified star? And what exactly happened on that set that made him say it? Join us as we unearth the dark backstage feud that the network desperately tried to bury. The soda salesman's son. Inside Pernell Roberts' small-town Georgia roots. Before he ever stepped onto the Ponderosa Ranch as Adam Cartwright, Pernell Roberts was just a small-town boy from Waycross, Georgia, born on May 18, 1928. The only child of a Dr. Pepper salesman and a dedicated mother, young Pernell discovered his passion for performing early on. During his high school years, he jumped at every chance to be in the spotlight, playing the horn, acting in school and church plays, and even singing in local USO shows. He was a young man bursting with talent, but he was also restless. He enrolled at Georgia Tech, but the rigid structure of college couldn't hold his attention for long, and he left before graduating to find a different kind of adventure. That adventure came in 1946 when he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. For 2 years, Roberts served his country, but he never truly left his love for music behind. He proudly played the tuba and the horn in the prestigious Marine Corps band, mastering the sousaphone and various percussion instruments along the way. After his military service, he gave college another shot, this time at the University of Maryland. It was here that he finally tasted the thrill of classical theater, starring in heavy-hitting student productions like Othello and Antigone. Once again, the traditional classroom couldn't compete with the magic of the stage, and he dropped out to pursue acting full-time in summer stock theater. By 1949, his gamble paid off when he made his professional stage debut in Maryland, sharing the spotlight with major talents like Moss Hart and Kitty Carlisle. This taste of success sparked a fire in him, leading to intense weeks of theater work in Philadelphia, where he tackled complex characters in classic plays. Hungry for bigger stages, Roberts packed his bags for New York City in 1952. He quickly conquered the off-Broadway scene, showing off his immense range in everything from one-act operas to Shakespearean tragedies. His powerful presence couldn't be ignored, and he soon climbed his way up to Broadway, sharing the stage with legendary icons like Joanne Woodward and Robert Culp. The theater world quickly recognized that a true star was rising. In 1955, Roberts won a prestigious Drama Desk Award for a brilliant off-Broadway performance of Macbeth. He followed that triumph with standout roles in Romeo and Juliet and The Taming of the Shrew at the American Shakespeare Festival. But while the stage was his first love, a new medium was calling. In 1956, after returning for one last celebrated theater run in Maryland, Roberts made his big television debut on the Kraft Television Theater. Hollywood immediately took notice of his rugged charm and intense dramatic skill. He quickly became a hot commodity on the small screen, landing thrilling guest-starring roles on hit westerns like Gunsmoke and Cheyenne. The stage was perfectly set, and the momentum was building for a massive breakthrough that would soon change his life forever. By 1957, Pernell Roberts' raw talent was impossible for Hollywood to ignore, and he officially signed a contract with Columbia Pictures. Just a year later, he made his big screen debut in Desire Under the Elms, playing one of Burl Ives' rebellious sons. The film was a critical success, even earning an Academy Award nomination for its stunning cinematography. Roberts quickly followed this up with a memorable role in the Western comedy The Sheepman, sharing the screen with icons Glenn Ford and Shirley MacLaine. Even as his movie career took off, Roberts remained a constant, captivating fixture on television. He showed off his incredible range by appearing in family-friendly episodes of Shirley Temple's Storybook Theater, and he even returned to his theatrical roots in a live broadcast of Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. He became the ultimate television guest star, popping up in popular westerns like Track Down, Zane Grey Theater, and Tombstone Territory. Proving he could play dark and dangerous characters just as well as heroes, he also starred as a ruthless villain in a gripping 1958 episode of Have Gun, Will Travel. The year 1959 would prove to be the most explosive turning point of his entire career. Roberts was everywhere, guest starring on top-tier shows like 77 Sunset Strip and General Electric Theater. But his biggest cinematic triumph came when he co-starred in the classic film Ride Lonesome. Playing the charming outlaw Sam Boone, Roberts gave an unforgettable performance, perfectly balancing the tension against legendary star Randolph Scott and a young, debuting James Coburn. It was widely considered his finest film role, but the best was yet to come. That very same year, Roberts rode right into television history when he was cast as Adam Cartwright in Bonanza, a role that would soon make him a household name. The first Western in color, How Bonanza Revolutionized NBC and Changed Entertainment Forever. When Bonanza exploded onto television screens on NBC in 1959, it didn't just become a hit, it changed the face of entertainment forever. Running for a staggering 14 seasons and 440 episodes, it secured its place as the second longest-running Western in broadcast history. It was a revolutionary production, making history as the very first Western broadcast entirely in color. Audiences were instantly captivated by the fictional Cartwright family, a powerhouse clan of ranchers living in the mid-1800s near the booming mining town of Virginia City, Nevada. This all-male household was led by the wise patriarch Ben Cartwright, a three-time widower who had a son from each marriage. The brothers couldn't have been more different. There was the booming, gentle giant Hoss, the hot-headed and romantic little Joe, and the serious, university-educated architectural engineer, Adam, played by Pernell Roberts. While the early seasons thrived on the natural friction between these three distinct brothers, the show soon shifted its focus to the massive challenges of running their legendary ranch, the Ponderosa. The Cartwrights became pillars of their community, standing out from typical TV gunslingers by using diplomacy, dialogue, and sheer intellect to protect their land and keep the peace. Yet, behind the scenes of this massive television phenomenon, a storm was brewing. Pernell Roberts was, at his core, a classically trained stage actor. He was used to the rich, complex dialogue of Shakespeare and the thrilling freedom of moving from one challenging role to the next. For him, the endless routine of series television, playing the exact same character week after week without even a change of costume, felt like a glamorous cage. As the show soared to the top of the ratings, Roberts grew deeply frustrated. He felt the scripts were overly simple and desperately lacked minority actors. It infuriated him that Adam, a brilliant man in his 30s, had to constantly beg his father for permission before making any major move. He openly mocked this dynamic as completely adolescent, asking a reporter in 1963 if it wasn't a bit silly for three grown men to live that way. Roberts had been promised deep character development and meticulously prepared scripts, but as the seasons rolled on, he felt the network never delivered on those promises. He grew to despise the assembly line mindset of Hollywood, craving stories with real social relevance, adult themes, and sophisticated dialogue. The tension finally boiled over, and despite the incredible fame and fortune the show brought him, Roberts famously walked away from the Ponderosa after the 1964-1965 season. The media went wild, attributing scathing insults to him, including claims that he called the show junk, and accused NBC of contributing to the dehumanization of the industry. In a particularly famous swipe from 1965, he reportedly told a journalist that he felt like an aristocrat in his field, comparing his time on Bonanza to the legendary violinist Isaac Stern sitting in with a cheesy Lawrence Welk band. Years later, Roberts would soften his stance, denying the most venomous quotes and insisting he never used those exact words, though he never denied outgrowing the show's formula. He simply wasn't built for the confining, repetitive nature of a network procedural. Long after his dramatic exit, the Bonanza legacy lived on, inspiring 3 television movies in the late 80s and 90s, featuring the next generation of Cartwrights, and even a prequel series in 2001. But for classic TV fans, nothing could ever quite match the golden era of the original 4 men of the Ponderosa, or the fierce, independent spirit of the actor who dared to walk away from it all. Four Vows, and A Sanctuary, the complex romantic journey of Pernell Roberts. Behind the scenes of his chaotic Hollywood career, Pernell Roberts' personal life was a complex journey of love, devastating heartbreak, and a deep search for companionship. Before finding his ultimate match, the actor walked down the aisle 3 times, with each marriage eventually dissolving. His first marriage was in 1951 to Vera Mowry, a brilliant professor at Washington State University. Together, they welcomed a son named Jonathan Christopher Roberts. Tragically, Chris would be Pernell's only child across all 4 of his marriages, and the actor's world was shattered when Chris died in a fatal motorcycle accident in 1989. Pernell and Vera had already split decades earlier in 1959 after 8 years together. Looking for love again, Roberts married Judith Anna Lebrecque in 1962, but they divorced 9 years later. In 1972, he wed his third wife, Cara Knack, a marriage that lasted an impressive 24 years before ending in 1996. But the final, most enduring chapter of his romantic life belonged to Eleanor Criswell. While the exact details of how they first crossed paths are a bit vague, reports suggest a highly unusual beginning. Eleanor and her then-husband, Thomas Hanna, originally visited Roberts' home for deep intellectual discussion. A strong bond formed, and the trio stayed in close touch. Tragically, Thomas was later killed in a horrific road accident. In the wake of that grief, Eleanor and Pernell grew closer, with Eleanor often playing hostess for social gatherings at the actor's house. Over time, their deep comfort with one another blossomed into a profound love, and the couple officially tied the knot in 1997. Though they never had children together, Eleanor brought the stability and devotion he had long been searching for. She remained fiercely by his side for over a decade, right up until his tragic death from pancreatic cancer in 2010, holding his hand as the final curtain fell on a dramatic life. But while Roberts found peace in his personal life, his professional years on Bonanza were marked by the intense, high-stakes environment of a massive network hit. Behind the scenes, navigating the egos of a powerhouse cast and the pressures of television history required a constant balancing act. Lorne Greene's Lost Verse, inside the behind-the-scenes battle over TV's most famous theme song. When David Canary first walked onto the Bonanza set as the rugged ranch hand, Candy Canaday, the atmosphere was already a powder keg. Rumors instantly exploded through Hollywood that the show's golden boy, Michael Landon, was locked in a bitter off-screen feud with the newcomer. Canary himself was a total straight shooter, and later admitted that the gossip made perfect sense. Both men brought the exact same brand of raw, physical action to the screen, and Landon could have easily seen Canary as a dangerous intruder threatening to steal his spotlight. But instead of an all-out backstage war, Landon launched a brilliant counter-strategy of overwhelming kindness. During Canary's very first week, Landon personally marched over to the show's corporate sponsor and demanded they gift the rookie a brand new car, successfully neutralizing any threat of a rivalry before it could even start. Landon knew exactly how fragile life on the Ponderosa really was, because Bonanza had been fighting to survive since day one. Early on, the network was ready to axe the series due to its astronomical, wallet-busting production budget. But the show possessed a secret weapon that made it bulletproof. It was the first drama filmed entirely in brilliant color. RCA, which owned NBC, desperately needed a flashy showcase to force Americans to buy color televisions. They took a massive gamble, moving the Western to a prime Sunday night slot, and the corporate power play paid off spectacularly. The thrilling drama clicked so deeply with audiences that Bonanza shattered industry records, locking itself in the Nielsen Top 5 ratings for 9 consecutive seasons. By the time its historic run ended, the series had logged an incredible 14 seasons, securing its spot as the second longest-running Western in primetime history, right behind the powerhouse Gunsmoke. It became a true cultural phenomenon, right down to its legendary theme song. While fans only know the instrumental version today, the music actually sparked a lyrical war behind the scenes. Multiple sets of hidden lyrics were written, including a special version by star Lorne Greene and another recorded by the legendary Johnny Cash. The cast even filmed a secret scene singing the words for the pilot episode, but nervous network executives ultimately cut it from the broadcast. But the real cutthroat drama was the fierce political game the actors played to protect their territory, enforcing a strict cap on who could call themselves a Cartwright. Early on, a grueling 34-episode season had a frustrated Pernell Roberts threatening to walk away. Panic-stricken producers rushed in Guy Williams, famous for playing TV's Zorro, as cousin Will Cartwright to prove no one was irreplaceable. When Roberts blinked and chose to stay, Williams was ruthlessly shuffled off the show, eventually finding fame as the iconic space dad in Lost in Space. That close call completely spooked Michael Landon and Lorne Greene. Protecting their turf, they went straight to the bosses and made a fierce ultimatum. No other new actors could ever play a Cartwright, terrified that the network would use long-lost family members to replace the original stars. Their power play worked. When Roberts finally did quit after season 6, newcomers like David Canary were kept strictly on the outside. This ruthless rule seemed to apply to the women of the show too, though for a much darker reason. It simply wasn't safe to love a Cartwright. Ben Cartwright was widowed 3 times, and any lady who caught a Cartwright's eye ended up tragically dead or run out of town. In the end, it wasn't a bitter backstage feud that destroyed the mighty Ponderosa, but a sudden, heartbreaking tragedy. In May of 1972, the beloved Dan Blocker died unexpectedly from a medical complication after surgery. The show tried desperately to recover for its 14th season, bringing David Canary back and adding young star Tim Matheson to attract a fresh audience. But without their gentle giant, Hoss, the ratings completely tanked, and the network finally pulled the plug. Years later, both Landon and Greene confessed that the vital heart and soul of Bonanza had died right along with their dear friend. But long before that final tragedy ended the series, the cracks in the Cartwright family foundation had already begun to show. For Pernell Roberts, the problem wasn't a lack of success, but the crushing realization that the golden cage of network television was suffocating his artistic dreams. The bitter pill of 1959. How broken promises shattered Pernell's early optimism. Pernell Roberts was a man locked in a quiet, painful war against his own success. He was a deeply trained theater actor who cared about real art, but he found himself trapped in a television world that preferred to play things safe. To Roberts, the massive fame and money of Bonanza felt like a tight cage that would ruin his talent and make people forget he could play anything else. This fierce need to do meaningful work is exactly what drove him to do what everyone else thought was completely crazy. He chose to turn his back on a fortune and walk away from the biggest show on television because his artistic soul simply could not take it anymore. This deep fear of getting stuck was heavy on his mind from the very first day he was cast as Adam Cartwright, the serious, educated oldest son on the show. Roberts was a natural in front of the camera, and he had started out with incredibly high hopes for what he could contribute to the series. He had been promised by the people who hired him that the 4 main characters would be sharply defined and the scripts would be carefully prepared. That early optimism is exactly what made the reality of the show such a bitter, painful pill for him to swallow. It did not take long for Roberts to realize that the producers did not share his vision for groundbreaking television, and none of those big promises ever actually came true. Instead, Roberts grew deeply disappointed with the direction of the series and hated the strict limits placed on his character and his acting range. He felt completely stuck and suffocated by the repetitive plots. He frequently complained to newspapers that he had not grown at all since the show started, feeling that his talent was being wasted on an assembly line. He went on to call his role completely powerless and adolescent because every single storyline forced a grown man in his 30s to bow down, defer to his father's wishes, and ask for permission before making any major moves. He found it completely silly that 3 adult males had to live that way week after week, and the lack of maturity in the writing drove him absolutely crazy. The behind-the-scenes tension finally boiled over after endless angry arguments with the writers and producers over the quality of the scripts. Roberts was a serious artist who wanted to push the boundaries of television, but the network only wanted to play it safe. They wanted a clean family show that would never offend anyone and would always hit a consistent level of mediocrity. Roberts also deeply cared about social issues, and it distressed him greatly that the show suffered from a severe lack of minority actors and refused to tell stories with greater social relevance or adult themes. He wanted the show to be a little more grown up, but the network completely refused to change its profitable formula. As the seasons rolled on, his dissatisfaction only grew worse. The confining aspect of series television and the rigid structure of a weekly procedural became a real crusher for him mentally. Playing the same exact part week after week without any creative freedom was no longer a challenge, and the stress of the endless routine drove Roberts into a real panic, even forcing him to go to a doctor for professional help. To make matters worse, the network completely refused to allow him to perform in other plays or projects while he was under contract, trapping him entirely on the Ponderosa Ranch. Roberts knew very well that his constant complaints had earned him a notorious reputation as a major troublemaker and a pot stirrer on the set. But he wore that reputation like a proud badge of honor, telling reporters that he had absolutely no problem rocking the boat when he did not like the way it was sailing. He refused to sit quietly and pretend to be happy just because he was starring in a worldwide sensation, while critics, executives, and co-stars constantly told him he should just shut up, stop worrying, and laugh all the way to the bank. Roberts shut them down with a legendary response. He told the press that if he were forcing himself to do something he did not believe in, he would cry all the way to the bank. For Pernell Roberts, money was never the most important thing in life. His needs were primarily artistic, and he cared far more about his own peace of mind, knowing who he was, and staying true to his craft. The money was amazing, sure, but he had to look in the mirror and decide if he wanted to just chase a giant paycheck or take a real chance on proving himself as a serious actor. He chose his art, turning his back on traditional Hollywood wisdom and all the well-meant advice from people who thought he was losing his mind. He strictly fulfilled his initial 6-year contract because he was a professional, but he flatly and completely refused to extend it for another season. The last episode he actually worked on was titled Dead and Gone in April of 1965. When he finally walked away from the ranch for good, the producers had to quickly eliminate his character, lamely telling the audience that Adam had simply moved away to live at sea or run a business on the East Coast. Even the show's producer, David Dortort, later admitted that he had been far too hard on the actor and failed to truly appreciate his genius while he had him. Dortort confessed that Roberts was so incredibly talented that he could make any scene he was in 10 times better, and that there was simply none better. But Roberts had no regrets about leaving the Ponderosa behind in a cloud of dust. He chose to walk away from the #1 show in America because he refused to sell his artistic soul for a steady paycheck, choosing his own sanity and independence over the easy comfort of Hollywood fame. But while Roberts left the series to reclaim his personal freedom, his departure left a massive void that the media rushed to fill with sensational gossip. The dramatic exit fueled wild stories of backstage hatred, setting the stage for a legendary rumor that would follow the cast for decades: the demonic insult myth, unraveling the legend of the Ponderosa's most famous backstage rumor. Behind the scenes of Bonanza, the atmosphere on the Ponderosa Ranch was often far more explosive than anything the audience ever saw on screen. While the legendary Western ran from 1959 to 1973, Pernell Roberts, who played the serious eldest son Adam Cartwright, infamously did not get along with the writers or the network bosses. Tired of lazy scripts and creative compromises, Roberts walked away from his contract in 1965, leaving a trail of dramatic rumors in his wake. A year after his exit, Roberts openly admitted that he had spent 6 years fighting over scripts and character development, to the point where he felt upset the moment he arrived at work. He confessed that he lacked the psychological stamina to handle long-term artistic compromises, noting that the friction made him feel hostile and completely worn down. Roberts made it clear that he had not left to chase a specific goal, but simply for his own good and his own sanity. Because his exit was so stormy, rumors exploded that Roberts absolutely despised his co-stars, particularly the young, energetic Michael Landon, who played Little Joe. The media painted a picture of a set toxic with hatred, and fans began whispering about a legendary backstage clash where Roberts supposedly looked right at one of his fellow actors and branded him a child of the devil. For decades, people assumed the target of this demonic insult had to be Landon, the carefree golden boy who represented everything Roberts disliked about the Hollywood machine. Landon certainly didn't help quiet the rumors, frequently using his trademark humor to poke fun at the situation. During a visit to The Tonight Show in 1973, a fan directly asked Landon if there were any hard feelings when Roberts left the series. Landon didn't hesitate to deliver a sharp line, joking that he did not even remember when Roberts left. As the crowd reacted with a mix of laughter and disbelief, Landon softened the blow, stating that a guy has to do what he wants to do, and noting that a lot of families split up. To the public, it seemed like definitive proof that the two men had spent years locked in a bitter feud. But the truth behind the child of the devil rumors is far different from the gossip the network tried to bury. While Roberts aimed his hostility at network executives, his relationship with Landon wasn't born out of hatred at all. Betty Endicott, a fellow Bonanza cast member, later recalled a secret story that completely shattered the myth of their backstage animosity. Years later, while Endicott was working with Roberts on his hit series Trapper John, MD, Landon unexpectedly showed up at the hospital location where they were filming. When Endicott questioned him, Landon quickly shushed her and told her to keep quiet, explaining that he was there to visit his mother but wanted to surprise his old co-star. Endicott watched closely as Landon quietly snuck up behind Pernell and gently tapped him on the shoulder. Instead of a hostile confrontation, Roberts jumped up and instantly wrapped Landon in a tight, emotional embrace. Endicott later shared that the moment warmed her heart because it finally proved that the rumored animosity did not exist, noting that those kinds of close reactions simply do not happen when people hate each other. The two old friends sat down and had a nice, long visit, spending a great deal of time just laughing and talking. In the end, the dramatic story of Pernell Roberts calling a co-star a child of the devil turned out to be nothing more than a ghost story cooked up by a Hollywood rumor mill hungry for drama. While Roberts possessed a fierce, uncompromising temper when it came to his art, that venom was never meant for Michael Landon. Behind the jokes and the rumors of a toxic feud, the two Cartwright brothers shared a deep, lasting bond that outlived the Ponderosa Ranch itself. What Bonanza episode is your favorite till this very day? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.